Hi everyone, I'm Andy and this is...
Les, good afternoon and welcome.
Hello. So with the Oasis concerts coming up soon, we've done a few Oasis specials over our time here at 66 and Mod Shoes and CX London. You can see behind us. We're just going to have a whip through them, talk about it, talk about getting tickets, the gigs, what songs we hope they're going to play, and just memorise a bit about like Oasis. Yeah, well, that's about it.
Some might say.
Some might say, but... or, I mean, some people went all around the world to get their tickets.
Ah.
So, I didn't leave my house. So did you get tickets?
Did you leave your house and was it gas panic because you thought you left it on? Boom, boom.
Anyway,
go on.
Did you get tickets? Did you want tickets, Les?
Actually, no, I didn't get tickets. And actually, no, I didn't want tickets.
Okay.
Because I was at work and I just could not be faffed with doing all that jiggery pokery.
Yeah, I mean, there was certain techniques. I know a few techniques to kind of so I did get a ticket, and I didn't pay the astronomical sum. But then I have worked in the internet since 1988, so I know how to 1998. So I know how to circumnavigate things. That said, that's a lot of money for a gig.
What, to them?
Well, to us.
I was going to say, it depends how you look at it.
Oh, it's a cash cow, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But it's going to be ace. Do you know what I mean? But I saw him back in the day. I saw him on the last tour. I think you did as well.
I did, yeah.
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 In the 90s, they were magnificent. I think.
Yeah. I'd say the rawness of them when they first started, to me, Gallagher's voice then just reminded me of Johnny Rotten.
Yeah.
Don't know why, it just did.
Yeah.
Maybe that's been a comparison lots of people have drawn, but you know.
Well, I do distinctly remember things like Enemy and Sounds at the time. They're always bigging up bands. And there'd been the Stone Roses and they've been magnificent, you know, and Happy Mondays and all that. And then there's a lot of talk about Oasis and you kept seeing it, but you hadn't seen it. There was no pictures. There was just talk about this band Oasis. And they put the demo of Cigarettes and Alcohol on the front of Enemy and I thought, it just sounds like T-Rex. What's all that about? And then they put a picture, and it's the picture where Noel's got the glasses, I think, and Liam's wearing the Man City thing. And I looked and I went, oh, they've done it. You know what I mean? And you know, like when you just think to yourself, they're going to be mega. And then you saw them play the songs and they were mega. You know, and I think for me, you know, in 93? Just before I went to college, that was just like, oh, wow. You know, like the Roses were, Stone Roses, they were a band for us. I don't know. You were working abroad.
I was busy being an expectant father.
Is that here or there?
No, that was in this country.
You was here then?
I was back by then.
Yeah.
So, get out.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like that.
Les worked in Spain for a little while, so Club 1830s, didn't you, mate? So anyway, let's get on to some clothes, yeah. So what we've done numerous Oasis numbers through our time. What we got here is the Slide Away, the Don't Look Back in Anger, and the Supernova. Do you want to? Should we start with this one?
Go on, fire away. Yep.
So the Slide Away. I think if Lee pings it up, there we go, on the screen now. Very early doors, Oasis. At the time, very baggy, and we were talking about this before we started recording, weren't we? And it's for all of the people sort of say they were a mod band. Really, to me that was early 90s clubber with a bit of rave thrown in. Do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, looking at that image that we can see now on the TV, there's a baggy look down the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, a nice pristine. And that is a lovely bit of material.
It's Egyptian cotton, you know.
Eh?
It's Egyptian cotton.
Yeah, I know it's. Yeah. I've done my research. For me, that look that he had, I think I was telling you earlier in 89 in Tenerife, started to work because it went on for a few years.
Yeah.
The baggy trouser look, the baggy look that the Roses had, and the Mondays had.
Yeah.
That kind of like was phased in and phased out during the course of Oasis, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And the Hush Puppies and all the rest of it.
But that's a very kind of early 90s club look, wasn't it? Because you to me, if you went like, people say like raving, if you went raving, you had baggy stuff on, and then the Manchester come through, and the Manchester was a kind of a way of kind of being able to still get in a club because you're wearing a shirt.
It was a bit. I think I told you earlier when we was in Tenerife in '89. I noticed people started to come through the airport and what have you, dress differently to whatever, because then we didn't have, as I said, we didn't have internet, we didn't have mobile phones.
No, of course.
So we were in Tenerife. We didn't know what's going on. We got the music coming through, but none of it was. It was indie, but it was indie dance. So it was the Mondays.
Well, Suit Dragons, I'm free, yeah.
You know, but more, that was towards the back end of '89. I left there in November '89. But I noticed the style of the dress and what have you. I knew nothing about a rave. You know, it wasn't until I got back into the UK, I was like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So looking at that picture, where he's got like the baggy jeans and whatnot, like you say, he can still get into a mainstream club with that.
Yeah, because it's a good point. I mean, when did that change here in Peterborough? Because in Cambridge, you weren't allowed jeans even in the early 90s. It was,
Do you know what? I can't remember.
Because trainers, you weren't getting in anywhere, were you?
No. Not tonight, you're not coming in.
Yeah. But that changed. That's a sort of 90s club thing. Because they weren't, if they weren't going to let you in trainers, you were turning away how many people?
The weirdest thing was, I was chatting about this the other weekend. In Peterborough, back in the day, people used to want to get into clubs, and the doorman goes, unless you're respectfully dressed, you're not coming in. I've heard stories of people getting a sock, taking a sock off, going around the corner, putting a sock in the top of his shirt, doing his shirt up, and going, hello, can I come in? And they would get let in, albeit it was Annabelle's upstairs, which is now the Met Lounge.
Yeah.
And the carpet's still the same, by the way.
He spent thousands.
Allegedly, you know. So you say about the dress code and whatnot. Yeah, I can see what you mean.
Yeah. I've heard a good story. I must tell you this. Somebody, a friend of Terry's, wouldn't get let into a club, and he's got fed up with this. So he went home, got a rail, dragged the whole rail to the doorman, and said, "What's going to get me in?" Anyway,
I bet you still didn't get in.
No, moving on. So early 90s, that baggy look, which we've seen in Pick One. By the time they got to the second album, which is where most people come in, which is What's the Story Morning.
I came in at that point, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just on the cusp of Britpop going massive. Weller's on his second album. You know it's coming through. Don't Look Back in Anger. I remember being in Ibiza in those years and literally walking down the road on pub crawls, and everybody was singing every word of Don't Look Back in Anger, you know. And so when I started doing 66, and we did, I think Lee can throw it up. There's the famous one there, look, where he's wearing it in the Don't Look Back in Anger video. We did that initially, it's got the collar. Subsequent companies have done it since. They've copied our copy, which is hilarious. But I was, going back to this one, I always wanted to do it with what I call the monkey collar, the tracksuit collar.
Yeah.
Because I always felt as a tracksuit, that's a bit more commercial and it's a bit more wearable. I love that top, but I don't know. Do you have any feelings on that? Or
I personally, I was looking at the black one.
Yeah, let's go to the black one. Let's go back to the black one there.
I was looking at this one, and what I like about how you've done this is how the stripes fade through to the arms. Mm-hmm. So many tops you see, that's misaligned.
Yeah.
In this case, it's clearly not, because it's...
Yeah.
I think you can zoom in on that, Lee.
You can't, but
like,
yeah.
That's, for me, that's
pretty
perfect.
Cool.
Yeah. What I like about it is, like you just said, I like the collar.
Yeah.
I would never have a collar on a tracksuit.
So you know, like some people like the collars that come round and they go up like that?
No. Your neck would disappear. You'll just see your head. This allows you the freedom to, you've got something underneath there, a T-shirt, for instance. You imagine that's a white T-shirt. That's a cool look. Corresponds with that. A different kind of colour, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I do like about it is the elasticity in the waistband, and the cuffs, and this is a really good.
Yeah, it's nice, really nice.
It is a really good material.
Mick Stoner had one of these when he come up at Easter for the chords band,
right?
And he put it on. It hadn't been off him. We were talking about in the other.
In it?
I think you might have done.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Nick, sort it.
Yeah. So, lovely bloke, but yeah, we've got with them coming up. If there was one of these to pick, this is universal. You're going to wear this loads. Do you know what I mean? This is more kind of going out. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this, to me, is a bit more Saturday afternoon.
This is going out, staying in.
Yeah.
Going to the match, going to the concert.
Yeah.
Going down a pub.
Yeah, totally.
Going to your local
on your scooter,
church.
Yeah, on your scooter, Northern Soldier.
It's everything.
Going to church.
Yeah.
You ever been to church?
It's called the Mason's Arms.
What, pub?
Sound like Mickey Gallagher then. I'm going out. What, down the pub?
Right, moving on. Let's pick up picture 3 for me, please, Lee. I think it's a year later. Liam's having a hissy fit with Noel and decides he's not going to turn up to play on Jules Holland. So Noel, as he's had to do quite a few times, has to sing all the songs. And so consequently, he sings the first thing they think they'd sing on there. Do they think they do Come For the Noise?
I think that's where Noel Gallagher found his feet. And Liam unwittingly gave him his feet.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, Les. That is a fair point.
I think that's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, and it's true. And I think that's still in the days when there was... So that must have been... Perhaps it's not as late as that. I don't know. But he's wearing that top. We've done our best to kind of recreate it or get inspired by it. Again, lovely. It's nice knit. What else do you say about it?
Nice knit.
Nice zip. I'm going to go out to the camera on that one. Let's have a go, shall we? What camera you on, Lee? Can we go to that one, which is my one? I think it's camera 2. Yeah, we're there. So what we've done there, look, it's got a nice zip on it as well, which is really nice. You can see the knit's really nice. Contrasting collar. Again, you can see the feel. Let's see if I can get the light to catch that. I don't know if it's going to. But you've got the details. There's a lot of subtle details in this that you wouldn't realise. Can you see there, like on the stripe? So that was important.
I'll just bring something to your attention.
Yeah, of course you can.
Imagine that. There you go. Mm-hmm. Right, it's long sleeve, but it goes with his shorts.
Yeah, yeah.
Because on a day like today, where a coat is probably too much, something long sleeved that's light, it's not heavy at all. It's really nice material.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and a good knit. That's going to work with that. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it can pan out at all. Yeah, it's all right. I'll go that way. That's it. There you go.
Yeah, no, I think that's good, mate. I think, yeah. I mean, it's we've sold plenty of them. We've run out of mediums in that. Yeah. We may or may not do some more. I think, if I'm brutally honest, once the gigs are on us, we might redo this. Do you know what I mean? I think Oasis mayhem is going to happen, and then perhaps it will all calm down again. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Or do you think
possibly people have got their fix?
Yeah.
By then, they've got their fix.
Yeah. I think so.
Going back to something that you just popped on there about the zipper. What I liked about both of these, I like that. It's almost like a pendant.
Yeah.
But what I didn't do notice is that you've got the embossed 66 clothing logo in there.
Yeah. Well, it's
pretty cool.
You know, yeah, we do that. We're not trying to blatantly do it. We've got a few things where we've got 66 on that, but it depends. On an icon piece like this, we tend to be a bit more discreet because it's about the icon piece. Yeah. So, I mean, you wouldn't have a great big sort of thing there.
No, I like that. I like that. It wouldn't work if you put that anywhere else. But I mean, everybody does that.
Yeah.
You know, to a point. Or they put it on the let's put it on the arm.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to. Where you've got that is fine. And on this.
Yeah, no, it's a shirt. So yeah. Well, I mean, some people do that, don't they? You know, other labels. You know, Liam's old label does it. You know, do it on everything. Does it work? I don't know.
Chaps, if you've never worn Egyptian cotton before, trust me, that is nice. And I don't readily. When was the last time you saw me wear a shirt?
When you played with the replicas.
The other morning, darling. That was a short sleeve shirt.
Yeah. I can't imagine you in a long sleeve shirt is like a no.
I just don't wear them. However, I would wear this because that is nice.
Yeah. We did the.
It's almost silk-like.
Yeah, and as I say,
lovely.
it does come from Egypt. It does come from near Cairo. The blokes who make them for me.
Night boat.
Nearly.
Is that how I got here? Night boat.
Not a night boat. It's a night boat. Anyway, anything else to say about Oasis? I'm really looking forward to it. Song-wise, I know it's cheesy. I mean, I've got all the albums, and there's loads of B-sides, and we do... What's the one we do in the band? Dum, da, da, dum, da, da, dum.
She's a biscuit. No.
Yeah, she's a biscuit.
No, she's not a biscuit. She's dips.
She's electric.
She's electric, that's it.
Yeah, we do that in the band. I like that. I know it's overplayed and we've overheard, but just don't look back in anger, just for all the memories. Being an IB for fantastic. When you're with 30 people, all drunk, walking along, singing that's amazing.
On New Year's Eve, just gone, we were DJing down at Charters on the boat on the inside. It was rammed. It was brilliant. We went through a little bit of an anthemic thing. Neil Diamond next to this, next to Robbie Williams' Angels.
Yeah.
It all worked.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
They're hymns, aren't they now?
For want of a better word.
Yeah,
they relate to a generation.
That's true. I mean, I looked on. I was looking on when I was doing some research about it like that, and there are literally people in choirs that do Oasis numbers, and you know that's gone. It's so big. It's amazing. And we were briefly talking about it before we started recording. You know about the songs, and all those early songs were about we can do. We are able to fly. We're going to, you know, all the high stuff. And I think that's where Noel's a clever lad. Yeah. It's very good. Yeah, and it's made him he's done all right.
Not bad for a guitar tech for...
in Spiral Carpets?
Spiral Carpets. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name for it. Clint Boone, that was him.
Yeah, and Tom. And anyway, we're rabbiting now. So, if you like what you see, just to sum up, we've got the Slide Away, Don't Look Back in Anger, the Supernova. They're going to be around for a little while, but we're not restocking them after, you know, the gigs. So once they're gone. And we do always get someone go, when they're going to come back in, they're not coming back in. So I don't think there's very few left. There's no mediums in that. They're all gone. So if you want one, I suggest that you buy one as soon as you can. I don't think there's anything else to say other than thank Lee for doing the controls. Thank my mate Les for coming in and talking.
Thanks for having me along.
Yeah.
Cheers, Lee.
And I hope everybody enjoys the gigs who's got a ticket, and I hope everybody gets in. And we'll see you again probably soon. Bye-bye for now.